2006 Pontiac GTO. What we're doing today is trying to put some longer wheel studs in it. Get the ARP package there. Now these are 3.25 inch wheel studs. So if you're looking around online, most of the time all you'll find is like a 2.5. But I called ARP and they told me these fit. So what you'll need to do this, there's a couple of things and there's a couple of reasons. You know, you might say that's a pretty long wheel stud, but there's a couple of reasons you'll want to do this. So you'll just need some basic tools. I got a drill with a 1/2 inch. You're gonna want to drill these holes out to 1/2 inch, and they're just about there. You don't have to drill them out a whole lot. You're gonna want this tool right here. This is to pull wheel studs through, just an old lug nut. I got this hole saw right here. So here in a minute, we'll take this rear brake off, this parking brake, and we can drill a hole through this backing plate where one of these bolts mount by going through this. And that'll allow us to get a 3.25 inch wheel stud through there without pressing the hub out. A couple of basic sockets and stuff. And just some cutting fluid so that we don't burn the bit up trying to get in there. And one of the reasons that you'd want to do this is I'm doing this for a drag pack setup. It's a 15 by 10 inch wheel, and it's got a 7.25 backspacing with a 44 millimeter offset. And basically what this does is that piece right here is pretty deep in comparison to the factory wheel. You can see that's a good couple inches. And I'll show you. So I tried to run these wheels on stock lug nuts, or on stock wheel studs with an aftermarket lug nut. Just with a regular shanked lug nut I got from the parts store, and it was only grabbing maybe that much at the thread. And you can see here, it actually bent some of my wheel studs when I was launching. So it moved to a nicer, much longer shank. This fits. That's how deep the wheel is right there. And then this fits perfectly. And I wanted about a 1/2 inch of threads poking out of here. And this wheel here's done. And this, when you come up to a drag race, if you're running a slick and you go to tech and they see that you're already set up like that, you're gonna make it through tech no problem. Also, you're gonna need bolt-in valve stems if you're running a slick. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started and just show you guys a little bit of the process on doing this. So real quick for starters, I just took the parking brake off. That's gonna make it a lot easier. We're just gonna start with drilling these holes out. Again, 1/2 inch drill bit. It's just barely bigger, but it's gonna help you pull these studs through, because these wheel studs, they don't actually make anything specific for a GTO. These are for late model GM, so Camaros, Trans Ams, Corvettes, stuff like that. They will work. I got all 5 of my holes drilled. Now next what I'm gonna do is, these are too long to fit in behind here and slide through. They make a 2.5 inch one that you can put in without taking off this backing plate. But what I'm gonna do now is remove this backing plate. I'm gonna use that to punch a hole in the backing plate. And then we can slide them through up on the top. Our mounting holes, one there, and we're gonna drill a hole through this one and just make that mounting bolt a little larger. And then when we go to put this back on later, we're gonna stack a larger washer behind it. Let's cover that hole. So as you can see, here's our hole. We can move this mounting plate around. There's plenty of room on the backside. So we'll take one of our studs and you just come through the backside and you come through that. Sorry, I'm trying to do all this while holding the camera. And you just line it all up. It's a lot easier with 2 hands, I promise. And then your stud will come all the way through, and you'll see here you're still gonna have to pull that through. So we'll throw this on. One of our old stock lug nuts. The next 4. And there it is. Got all 5 of them in. So now basically just start the reassembly process. Line that up. We'll stack a washer on this one to make sure that we get a good clamping surface. Before I put this all together, I'm going to finish cutting this out right here and grinding it smooth because race car, because I don't need fender lips. If you guys want to go 15 by 10, you know, this is kind of what you're looking at. That's a Race Star wheel. It's a little bit of a cheaper wheel than like a Weld or something like that. But if you're handy with some tools and you can do this work yourself, throw some longer studs, better lug nuts. Don't care about chopping the fender well out because race car, you guys will be all right. That we have to stack this washer on. We're probably going to use this washer, and I know that's too big, but we'll probably cut right along here, and you'll be able to stack it. So I'll get to chopping that, and I'll show you guys that too. It bended a little bit when I hit that lip, but it won't interfere with anything. It's clamped down, all good, Loctite, everything. E-brake back in. Now let's just put the parking brake and all this stuff back on, this clamp right here back in, and once I get the brakes all put back together, and then I'll probably start hacking up the fender a little more right before I put the tire on. So, and I'll show you guys what it looks like when I'm done. All right, so there it is. I know my rotor's kind of cooked. That's a project for another day. We ain't going racing right now. Once I cut out all of this, it saved the sidewall. But I still had this piece right here, so I had to cut that out. So now the only thing's left, throw the wheel on, throw these lug nuts on, torque it down. Kind of dirty, but both sides done, torque down. Now I'm gonna let it off the jack stands and give it a little rip around the block.